All right, welcome to the first video on meditation. This one's going to be mostly on cross-training for meditation, the first two levels. Um, I developed these a few years ago as people started talking to me about the difficulty they were having with regular meditation classes. And it really occurred to me that it's become more and more difficult for people to sit still, calm their mind, relax their body. And so I developed this program of cross training for meditation based on the different ways people were asking for help and different exercises, if I could provide any, to help them improve their meditation practice, because a lot of people weren't getting any benefit from it because they couldn't sit still, relax their body, and calm their minds. So this cross training program has been really beneficial. I've got a lot of positive feedback on it for people who were having difficulty and are now doing really well in their meditation programs. Meditation is going to be very important because of the ability to calm your mind, focus your mind, sit still for long periods of time. And when I say long periods, I'm not talking more than 20 or 30 minutes. But this cross training regimen that we're going to get into in a minute has really helped a lot of people, and I'm kind of happy with that, that I could provide people with this ability to train into being able to meditate. Meditation has a lot of positive health benefits. You can easily Google what are the health benefits of meditation online, so I'm not going to really like rattle off 30 or 40 medically proven benefits of meditation on here. So if you're interested in that, a lot besides, lowering your blood pressure, relaxing your body, calming your mind, you can easily just jump on Google or whatever your favorite search engine is and look that up. Um, when we use the term meditation here in modern American shamanism and holy as well, we're talking about calming and clearing the mind and not having any stray thoughts running through your mind. This is a very specific baseline for what we call meditation. When somebody is leading you through meditation, or what they call guided meditation, they're telling you what to see, where to go, what to do. That is guided journey work. That's not meditation. And it's just important to know the difference. There's nothing wrong with guided journey work. We do a few guided journeys in our programs. But you need to understand the difference between meditation and being guided in a journey exercise. So this is going to focus on the baseline, the foundation, the bedrock for everything that we're going to do in our programs, and that's pure meditation. All right. Cross training for meditation comes in three basic levels. We're going to cover level one in this video. Okay. Please forgive the background. I'm sharing this workroom with my wife right now, and I'm going to try and get it looking better and have a better background here in the coming months here in 2026. So let's get started with level one for cross training of meditation. It's going to break down into four specific areas. We got quiet sitting, non-attachment, no thought, and time and patience. So those are the four basic parts of part one for cross training. Now, this is actually a lot harder than it's going to sound, so please take your time doing it. Um, don't berate yourself, because that only creates more agitation and anxiety and makes it more difficult to get anything from this program, which will allow you to get into complete meditation training later. So if you have trouble, just accept it and take your time and move on. Start again, and then if you really have trouble with it, then simply stop for the day or for the morning or wherever and try again in a few hours, or just wait till the next day. Don't push yourself into this. This is not a whole no pain, no gain thing, okay? You're working with your mind. Your mind is incredibly strong, and if it's in complete control doing whatever crazy shit that it wants, you're not going to be able to muscle your way through making it do what you want it to do. You're going to have to slowly train it over time. Okay, it took you your entire life to get to where you are now. You're not going to fix any problem in the next 10 seconds. Okay, so what do I mean by quiet sitting? Basically, what I'm doing here, minus the talking and flailing my arms. Okay, The best part of cross training for meditation is you either need a radio so you can listen to music or podcasts, or a TV and your favorite program. So you're going to get comfortable sitting on your couch or in a chair or even on the floor. If you sit on the floor, try and sit, with your back straight and your legs crossed, and just let your arms sit in your lap. If you're sitting on a chair or a couch, just sit normally and put your arms on your lap. It's that simple. That's how we're starting. Turn on your program, your music, or your podcast. Your first goal is to sit without moving. That's all we're doing. In quiet sitting, we're going to sit without moving for 5 minutes. Use your phone to set a timer, or if you can see a clock, all right, just start watching or listening to whatever you're going to watch or listen to and sit for 5 minutes without moving. All right, that means twiddling your fingers, tapping your feet, moving your head, cracking your joints, moving your shoulders, whatever. You can't do any of that. You've just got to sit still for 5 minutes. Okay? And then once you can do that comfortably, bump it up to 10. All right? So once you can sit comfortably for 5 minutes, you're not agitated. You're not like, oh my God, is this shit going to end anytime soon? Once you're not doing any of that, bump it up to 10 minutes. And then when you can sit comfortably for 10 full minutes, then you've completed, without moving, you've completed the quiet sitting portion of the training. Now, this takes people anywhere from 1 week, I kid you not, to 4 months. It depends on how frazzled your nervous system is and how used you are to constantly moving and taking a lot of caffeine. When you're doing this program, it helps to not drink any energy drinks or coffee or caffeinated tea an hour before you do it, because the caffeine just aggravates your nervous system, makes you want to move, and makes some people very jumpy. So try and avoid the tea and energy drinks and coffee at least an hour before you try the exercise. Okay. Now, once we've completed quiet sitting, we're going to move on to non-attachment. Non-attachment is a little more difficult to do. So you're watching your favorite program, and it's important that it's your favorite program on TV, your favorite music, or your favorite podcast. And now the reason for that is when we go to non-attachment, you're going to try and not become emotionally attached or emotionally excited to what's going on. If you're a big sports fan, watching a big game also helps, because anything like my family, people are jumping and screaming and running across the floor. You don't want to do any of that. If you're watching your favorite sitcom, you don't, oh no, I can't believe, and all this nonsense. You can't do any of that. You're just doing your quiet sitting, and you're relaxing, and you're breathing. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Make sure you're not being drawn into the TV. A lot of people do that. That's a big one. When people are drawn into something on their favorite programs, they unconsciously start bending forward. They're drawn into the TV set or the radio. Just sit straight, relaxed, not moving, and don't allow yourself to become emotionally drawn into what's going on. This is another part. This is actually harder than the first one. We've become accustomed to being really emotionally attached to things we watch and listen to. And that's perfectly fine. That's why we listen to them or we watch them. The goal is, is to, on command, not be emotionally attached to what we're doing, because that revs up your nervous system, that revs up your pulse, and gets you moving and motivated and drawn into what you're watching. And TV shows and music are good to use for this part of the training, because they're designed to make you feel and do those things. Okay, that's why they can sell advertising spots and commercials. So this may be one of your hardest parts of your training. So you want to sit still, not move, and not become emotionally attached or literally drawn into the program or the music. We're going to give that a shot for 5 minutes. Okay? Again, don't berate yourself. Don't get upset. if you can't do it for 5 minutes. This is what we're cross training for. You're working and training yourself over time, anytime from 1 week to however long it takes you to do this. To sit perfectly still for 5 minutes and not be drawn in and become emotionally attached to what's going on the radio or the podcast or the TV program. And like last time, once you can do that without being agitated about not being emotionally attached to something for 5 minutes, then you bump it up to 10. Okay? And then once you can do that calmly, you're like light years ahead of most people that are trying to start their meditation programs. Phase 3 of this program is no thought. And what we look for in no thought is just that. This is the longest part of the training. As I'm sure most people have, which is why you're doing cross training for meditation, you have the stray thoughts running through your head constantly. Up until this point, you were agitated, couldn't sit still, and we're always running around being pulled into this or being pulled into that. But now, at least for 10 minutes at a pop, you don't have that problem anymore. So now we're working on the mind, no thought. So as you're sitting there, listening to your music, listening to your podcast, watching your program, what you're going to do is, as thoughts pass through your mind, whether it's about what you're watching or the shit you didn't pick up at the store, or you wish you'd have bought this, or oh, is there a sale going on today, just don't pay attention to it. This is hard. Don't get drawn into the stray thoughts running through your mind at light speed. A lot of people have 10, 12, 14 of these thoughts trying to rip through their minds at once. So it's going to be very difficult, and this may take a while to calm them down. It's because you're drawn into them and you're attached to them. So now we've built up where we're not physically reacting to our thoughts, and we are not emotionally attached to what we're seeing and hearing. So we can learn to be not emotionally attached to our thoughts. And once we can do that, they'll start to slow down, and there'll be fewer and fewer stray thoughts running through your mind. So that's all we're doing for this part of the program for 5 minutes at a time. Just not being attached. We're ignoring any thoughts running through our mind while we're sitting still and not being drawn into anything we're hearing or seeing outside our bodies or inside our bodies. And now at this point, the TV and the podcast and the radio are very important, because when you cut those out and people are left alone with just their thoughts, it becomes almost impossible. There was a study in the early 2000s done in Japan. They put a bunch of kids, sorry, I'm in my 50s, kids, and they're 17, 18, 19 years old in a room together, and they took their phones away. And there was no outside input as far as noise goes. And they didn't know how to interact with each other without their phones, so nobody was talking. And they were monitoring everybody's blood pressure and pulse and all this, and everything was going through the roof. Now, these kids had a medical exam. They were all healthy to begin with, but their blood pressure was skyrocketing, their pulse was skyrocketing. So they separated the boys from the girls and put them in separate rooms and did the same exact thing, because they were thinking maybe everybody was getting nervous, how to talk to the opposite sex, but that wasn't the problem. Even the girls were in the room with the girls and the boys were in the room with the boys. Their blood pressures went up, their pulse went up, because they didn't have their phones. They didn't know how to interact, but it was so quiet. They reported that their minds were just racing and racing and racing, and they were just getting so agitated. And it was made worse because there was nothing that they could listen to or do while they were just sitting there. Okay? And so that's why it's important to have something you can observe or listen to while you're doing this program. Okay? And so, again, back to the no thoughts. So we're sitting there, we're not moving, we're not emotionally attached to anything going on outside us, and we're learning and understanding how to become non-emotionally attached to the things going through our head. Now, as those thoughts slow down and you become more and more comfortable and relaxed and you have fewer thoughts, bump it up to 10 minutes. I'm sorry, yeah, 10 minutes. Bump it up to 10 minutes. And then stay in this phase until you have no stray thoughts. Okay, this is very, very difficult. If you there's like other like your thoughts are like annoying people. The more you ignore them and the more you avoid them, the less they mess with you. Okay, and so this training is very simple. It's very basic, but it's very effective. Okay, so just avoid dealing with your stray thoughts and let them be. Now, unlike the other steps, once you can do that, we're gonna bump it up to 15 minutes and let you sit there without moving, becoming emotionally attached inside or outside, and do this with the TV or the podcast or the radio, whatever, until you have no thoughts going through your mind. Okay. And that includes conscious thoughts like when the F is 15 minutes going to be up. Okay. You should be past that being drawn into your own agitation. You're just going to sit still, and once you can make 15 minutes with no stray thoughts, believe it or not, now stage 4 and the actual hard part comes in. Phase 1 of the 4th part. We're going to leave the TV and everything on. And we're going to bump it up to 20 minutes. And once you're comfortable with that, we're going to bump it up to full 30 minutes while you're watching an entire sitcom or listening to a 30-minute podcast or spacing out your music and doing your song so it's roughly 19 minutes and 20 or 25 9 minutes and 10 seconds or 30 minutes and 5 seconds, however close you can get to 30 minutes, and just sit there with not moving, not emotionally attached inside or outside, and no stray thoughts for 30 minutes. That's your max goal for phase 1 of step 4. And then once that's done, then turn the external sound off and start all over. And by that I mean go back to phase 2, not to phase 1. You can already sit still for 30 minutes. So you're going to sit still for level 4, phase 2. No external sound, no TV, no podcast, no radio. No alarms going off, no signals from your phone. All of that's in another room. And you're just going to sit there for 10 minutes without moving, without becoming emotionally agitated that there's no external stimulus going on. And see how your mind reacts. But don't become attached to the thoughts running through your mind. Okay, if there's no thoughts are coming up, awesome. But if they are, which most people reported, you're just going to do the same thing you did before. You're just going to sit still and not become emotionally attached to any thoughts. And just breathe. No special breathing, no special mantras, none of that. You're just sitting still and ignoring stray thoughts going through your head. Not becoming attached or emotionally attached to anything. And once that's done, bump it up to 15. And when you can do that, bump it up to 20. And then when you can do 30 minutes just sitting there still, inside and out, then you're ready for meditation. Okay, the stage 3 and 4 are the hardest parts of the program. And then the quiet parts of stage 4 are like master level. So once you can get through those, it becomes you're ready for meditation practice. Okay, you're now laid down a solid foundation for just out sitting or sitting and forgetting, whichever phrase you prefer, or if you've never heard any of those, however you want to do, you've laid down a solid foundation to actually start doing meditation. Okay, and I'm going to end this one here. Thank you, and we'll get started on the next part of this.